Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be covering the results of the Champions League from this past weekend, the first for tournament in the post rotation format. No Gardevoir EX, no Golden Go EX, no what's the other big one? Charizard EX, and many more cards rotated, including I don't know, for better or for worse. We'll talk about that and give our thoughts on the results from that tournament. We've got a few new cards that were revealed at the Champions League to talk about. Some pretty interesting ones. I don't think anything super mind blowing, but interesting new mechanic
Yeah.
that did get revealed with these new cards. We'll see what we have to talk about with that and the potential of what they may do with it in the future. We, of course, have Guess That Flavor Text, everyone's favorite segment of the podcast. We're going to wrap up by talking about the Seattle Regional Championships this weekend, where Azul and I will both be in attendance. And then we will also have the bonus episode exclusive to our YouTube channel members and Spotify subscribers. My name is Chip Ritchie, joined here as always by my friend and co-host Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy? How's your week been?
Doing pretty good, Chip. Week was pretty good. Got to watch Party Champions League. They did stream both days. Day one was like kind of weird because it was kind of like all pre-recorded matches, not by like a long time. Like it was like 3, 4 hours prior to like when the match actually aired on the stream. I think they had to do that because of Async Swiss. Day one was like four groups, A, B, C, D, and then it was or what did someone call it in my chat? Dynamic pairings or something like that. Basically, you
Hmm.
go on your phone, you queue up to play against someone of a similar record or whatever, and then you go sit down. You get a table that you go to and play against them. So, um, the day one was a little bit less exciting because of that, because you just like knew the games weren't like live happening in the moment. But day two, back to like the standard format. Got to see that top 32 cut, 7 rounds of Swiss, normally as you would, live matches, and pretty good. Honestly, I saw someone make a comment on my YouTube channel or something on Twitter, but I think like actually like the quality of the games, I felt like it felt like higher than most Champions Leagues. A lot more fluky with best of one, of course, like that it plays a big part of it. So, yeah, overall, I enjoyed the quality of the games and the gameplay in general, and definitely was like the matches were interesting. There's still some back and forth, but we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into like the results, take a look at some of the deck lists that did well and stuff like that. There's definitely some like glaring parts of the format that are very relevant. A certain ace spec card is dominating. But then yeah, looking forward, excited for this weekend, like Chip said. Both gonna be in Seattle because we will both be casting in Seattle. I'm
Let's
recording
go.
the desk, the Seattle Regional Championships. Excited for that. Um, for sure. Despite it being, in this same we don't have the Ascended Heroes format still, unfortunately. But honestly, like we talked about it last week, EUIC was pretty like the gameplay there was still pretty good. Like that's one thing about
Hmm.
the format. It is stale at this point, but the gameplay is really enjoyable to watch. So just watching more high level gameplay in Seattle this weekend will be fun for sure, being able to cast it. So I'm excited for that. What about you, Chip? What were you up to this weekend? What you have going on?
Not too much going on this weekend. Yeah, I actually tuned into a good bit of the Champions League stream that you did. I watched a good bit of the first day and then tried to stay up late and watch all of Sunday yeah, Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning,
Yeah.
right? Made it to like when top four started at like 5 a.m. and I was like, I gotta go to bed. So
Yeah, I almost tapped out myself. I was like questioning it, but then we got into the first round of top four, and I was like, okay, I can definitely stick this out,
and
see it all the way through.
that's when I dipped out. It was
Yeah,
right then. Did they do both top fours?
I believe they did, if I remember
That's pretty cool
correctly.
at
I think they
least.
did. They usually do. They usually do. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed watching kind of some of the new Pokemon. I do gotta say, we'll talk about this a little more, but it was very doom and gloom over there, Azul. We can work on the attitude a little bit, I think.
Man, I'm just trying to like mentally prepare myself for what I think will inevitably become a pretty stale format in terms of the gameplay. And that's what I've been talking about a lot recently. Is just like we're losing Iona, we're losing Counter Catcher. And obviously Counter Catcher wasn't the healthiest format with Poltnor for sure. Like I don't disagree with that. That's like a take a lot of people have had, and I agree with that. But the depth in gameplay is gonna be a little shallow. And I don't know. It could start to feel a little bit like everyone's just playing Raging Bolt of a different type. So we'll see though. We'll see. It definitely felt a little bit more than that, looked a little bit more than that. I think I mean, one thing we'll talk about this a little. I think one of the big differences between current format and post rotation is going to be innovation, and switching up the archetype choice to be continuously successful is going to be more prevalent after rotation for sure. You're not going to be able to just change two cards in your Gardevoir list, or play the same 60 Poltmore like you were able to in this format. So that'll make the landscape of competition more interesting in a way we haven't seen, I feel like, in a little while. But I feel like old formats definitely had that in them for sure. So it'll still be interesting. It'll still be Pokemon. It'll still be fun. Plenty of new cards always on the horizon.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more once we get into the Champions League results. But yeah, again, I'm also looking forward to Seattle this weekend, casting alongside you once again. Hopefully, from last time, you've been able to take my notes and take a look at the pages of notes I sent you about your first performance in Milwaukee to improve much more for Seattle this time. You've been
I
studying.
I laugh because I think it's funny that, like, thinking of you actually writing notes is, like, the funny part.
Whoa! Dang, shots fired. No, Azul is a very much a natural in Milwaukee, so I'm very much looking forward to cast alongside you again, my friend. It'll be a blast, and looking forward to meeting some of you guys as well this weekend, and getting to see some high level Pokemon played. Because I think that is one thing about this format. It is sale, yes, but really the matchups are all pretty close. And when you have
Yeah.
two good players on, even like if it's a 60-40, like I don't know, the games all come down to the last couple turns usually, unless someone like dead draws or whatever, right? Which is
Yeah.
normal in Pokemon. But the gameplay of this format is actually really, really good. I feel like people will look back on this format and have enjoyed it, right? There's not like one deck that feels overly oppressive in this format, I don't feel like, which is a nice thing as well. So yeah, the gameplay of this format actually does feel pretty good. So looking forward to seeing that all play out.
Yeah, is a little bit stale. I saw someone make, like, a really bad comparison for, like, the Pokemon TCG about, like, comparing, like, this format to chess. It was like, "Oh, when was the last time the rules changed in chess?" And it's like, no one plays card games to play chess. They would go play chess if they were gonna play chess. We want things to change and be different and be new. Otherwise, we would just go play chess. So, um, yeah, Dragapult, Gardevoir, Golden Go have been really good for a long time, but yeah, the gameplay is still feels it's enjoyable to play, enjoyable to watch, and that's like still an important aspect of it. So it's kind of nice that such a long format actually has such a depth of gameplay. Because imagine, like, I feel like some of the
I mean,
Legends and
it was
VMAX,
broken Lugia format for this 6-month format,
yeah,
and it was
that
broken
like
Regidrago format for the 6-month format,
yeah.
right? So we've
Well,
had
no,
2
Badoo
pretty bad
came
ones.
Yeah, Badoo came in, like, towards the end to kind of clean things
Mhm.
up a little bit, but I was gonna, like, even go further back and be like the VMAX times, the tag team times, mostly the VMAX times where it was like, that was brutal for, like, there was no depth of gameplay at all going on there. You know, you're paralyzing with Raichu and hoping the Eternatus player whiffs their switch off the Marnie or something, like, that was brutal in comparison. So even though it is, like, a little bit more stale in terms of deck variety, the depth of gameplay keeps things, I don't know, like, that's, like, the main reason people play the Pokemon TCG is because of, uh, the mechanics of it all, how the game plays, but we don't play a card game for Gardevoir and Dragapult to be the top 2 decks for forever, so things do have to change and should change, and, with that, the gameplay will also change, but always excited for the next iteration of the Pokemon TCG, even though I was dooming and glooming a little bit over the weekend. I'm still hopeful, I'm still hopeful.
Well, there's a couple things we wanted to talk about before we get into our first main topic, which will, of course, be the Champions League results. The first up is a actual ruling change that was posted this week. Play Pokemon released a new PTCG rule. You can now attach 0 energy cards with Mega Lucario EX's Aura Jab or Squawkabilly EX's Motivate. It is now currently in effect. So if you're playing in Seattle or League Cups or whatever this weekend, this ruling is in effect for you. So keep that in mind. Um, for effects of attacks, if a card uses the phrase up to X, you can choose any number between 0 and the maximum. So, for example, Squawkabilly's Motivate says attach up to 2 energy from your discard pile. You can now choose 0, where previously you had to choose at least 1
If there was one, yeah.
if
If you
there
had
was
0
one.
in there,
Yes.
yeah, if you had 0 in the discard pile, you could still choose 0. Doesn't affect abilities and trainer cards, those remain the same, where you have to take a number has to be there's no number 0. If you play Ultra Ball, you could not take a Pokemon, but Uh, yeah, the number 0 doesn't exist for trainer cards and abilities, and, I think has it always been this way? Like, that's one thing that I just thought about right now. Has up to always been 1 if 1 could exist for Pokemon attacks? Or has there ever been a has the rule ever been, like, off of a Lucario or off of Squawkabilly back in 2009, 2010? Could you take 0? I don't even remember.
I think that if it was known,
I think it's always
you
been
had to
1,
take
right?
1, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a change for anyone who's not, aware that happened in Japan with the Mega Evolution set release.
Yeah.
That did not happen for us with the Mega Evolution set release. So this was very much supposed to coincide with the release of Mega Lucario, right? That had to be the driving factor for them to want to make this change, for sure. And this is like one of the things I just like. I heard about someone or brought this up to me my other day on my stream when it got announced or whatever. That tweet went out and they saw it. They brought attention to it. I completely forgot about this ruling change in Japan, and it's not really that big of a ruling change. I doubt many players won or lost games because they had to take an energy with Squawkabilly or had to take an energy with Lucario, right? But it's one of those things where it's like it is so insignificant. Why did we not get this change? This is like one of the frustrating things about TPCI and dealing with like these situations where it's like the game is made in Japan, the game designers are in Japan. TPCI does not make any cards. They don't make any rulings for the most part. They kind of just copy Japan. Why did it take us so long to get this change represented in our rule book? Because like previously up to this point, Lucario and Squawkabilly had to take an energy at the discard pile if there was an energy in the discard pile. And like I said, it's not that big of a deal. Like not that many games were won or lost because of this. But like what is it miscommunication? Like there's two things that could be happening here. They could just not be communicating at all. Japan makes a change, TPCI sees it, but then still waits 6 months to change it themselves. Or there is communication and TPC the Pokemon company hits up TPCI and they're like, yo, we're making this change when Mega Evolution drops. And then TPCI is like, all right, that's cool. 9 months later, they're like, we're making this change. It's like, what is going on that it took 9 months? Is it 9 months? I think it's 9 months.
It's not quite
Um,
that long.
8 months, 7 months. Like, what even then though, like, why not just make the
Yeah, yeah,
change with
yeah.
Mega Evolution like Japan did? Like, what is going on that did not happen immediately? It's just like so it's just like hurts my head. It's so ridiculous. Like all they have to do is make the change and then it's changed. And they knew it was a thing. I would also assume that there is some amount of communication going on between the Pokemon Company and TPCI with these things. And if there's not, it's almost worse that it didn't change if there is communication than if there was no communications and it took them this long to make the change. So I don't know. It's just like frustrating, I guess. No matter how small of a thing it is, the fact that it is so small means it should be that much easier to make the adjustment around. So that's my rant.
First of many today.
We'll see. We will
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I think it is a little silly that it took this long because, like you said, it is a very, very minor things. It also makes me wonder if, like, what the level of communication was there between
Yeah.
TPC and TPCI. But regardless, it is in effect now. So just something to note: if you're attacking with a Squawkabilly, you do not have to take an energy out, but you previously did.
Yeah. And I don't actually even know if that's reflected on PTCG Live right now or not, or if
I
we're
was actually
still
wondering that as well. I don't know if it
yeah.
is either. So that's
It did
yeah,
just
another thing to see. There was downtime today, so
yeah.
maybe it got adjusted there. I'm not sure.
I would assume it would have to probably come with the next big patch, though, would be my assumption. So
Well, the battle
it's
pass ends
maybe
like this week, I think. So there will be some sort of new content update, right? At least for like
no.
a new battle pass, or not
Well,
battle
I
pass.
mean, that's
It's the ranked ladder, I guess.
yeah, the ranked ladder resets. So yeah, it might not be until I mean, they could like release a bigger patch before the next set drops, but we might not see the change happen until the next set drops, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see.
That's another aspect of this as well, because now I wonder where in the chain of communication did the PTCG live developers learn of this happening?
Yeah.
You know,
Or have they learned? Maybe they have not. Maybe they learned from this tweet. They saw the tweet and they're like, "Oh, what? This change was made? Like what? All right, now we have to worry about this." Yeah, and that's just like the frustrating part is as well because it's like there is communication between TPC and TPCI, and like we're playing their game, right? The Pokemon Company creatures, they make the game. They decide what is correct and what is incorrect. We've already had like flaws with that on this side of the world with like us rotating faster than they do. We're basically us playing fake formats or not even playing formats or unfortunately not getting to play formats that Japan gets to play because their sets released sooner. But Then there's something like this where it's like so minor, and all TPC has to do is say like, "Hey, this change is being made with Mega Evolutions. Make sure you guys also make the adjustment when Mega Evolutions drops for you." And our Evolutions already comes out like 2 months after theirs. So it's like where is the ball being dropped in this process? And it all has to be done. They have to just do this document, edit the document, or like add this. I don't know where this even came from. Was there a post on Pokemon.com or something? Like, where did this even come from?
It's probably just in the rule book.
Yeah, if it's just in the rule, all they have to do is like add this to the rule book, and then Play Pokemon should probably tweet something. I think Play Pokemon should
Yeah.
probably address it publicly on the Twitter, um, in the forums, whatever. It should be addressed somewhere by Play Pokemon. But yeah, just it's just so disappointing, man. And that's one of the things. Like, I'm just gonna expand on this a little bit further. It's just like it's so hard to want to give TPCI credit for when they do a good thing because it's like then they just do this, and it's like on the like we can't get the little things right ever. So when they do an improvement that is like really cool or really, it's like all right, that's cool and great, but it's like really hard to want to give them too much credit because then they make up like this feels like it's such a small thing, but it's like it's such a because it's such a small thing, it's such a huge error. Because like this shouldn't be this big of an error. And the fact that it took this long, it's not like they forgot it for a couple weeks and we're like, oh shoot, Mega Evolution came out 2 weeks ago and we forgot to release the rule update for Mega Lucario. And
They're
oh,
too busy tweeting Big Chungus to tweet anything
yeah.
out about
And see, those are the
about this
things, like
update.
but actually, though, like, this is the things where it's like, this is kinda cool, the way that, like, the social accounts have been, like, more memey and gimmicky and kind of interacting with the
Mhm.
community is, like, cool to see, but it's so hard to wanna give them that win when they can't just tell us Mega Lucario can take 0 energy out of the discard pile when Mega Evolution releases, like, when it should no longer be able to do that or should be able to do that. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's, like, really hard to wanna give them like, "Oh, it's cool that they're being this, active with their socials and stuff in this way," but, like, they can't tell us that Lucario can take 0 energy out of the discard pile when it should be able to. They have to wait 7 months or whatever. So, yeah, it's just frustrating all around still because like, these things keep happening. Like, if they could just clean up these little things, man, like, for me personally, I don't know how much the broader community cares, but, like, for me personally, it's, like, really frustrating. Maybe it's because 'cause I've been here so long. Like, it's a
You're
little bit different for
jaded.
someone yeah, it's a little bit different for someone newer entering the space and being like, "Oh, is it really that big of a deal? Like, no one lost any games because of this anyways, like, who cares?" But, yeah, a little bit frustrating for sure.
And then one more thing we wanted to talk about before our first topic is Pokemon Day is this Friday, and there is a Pokemon Presents coming out alongside it. So a presentation on the Pokemon YouTube channel. I think it's live 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Azul, not being a Pokemon fan, I'm sure will not be tuning in, but
Um,
there's lots
I'll
of
be
exciting things I'm
traveling.
sure
Wait,
to
what was
come.
the time? When is it
It's in the
happening?
morning. You'll be asleep, bro. It's 6
Oh,
a.m.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll be sleeping.
But I'll be in the air on the way to Seattle, and I will be watching it live in the air. That's the plan, at least.
Yeah.
Um,
Are these scheduled? They are scheduled for, like, these times a year every time, right? Pretty
well,
much?
there's always one on Pokemon Day, or there has been
Yeah.
the last like 5 years or so, at least.
Then are the other ones kind of just sporadic depending on when, like, big
Yeah, I think
news
it's
ends up
just
dropping?
whenever. I don't know. Actually, it might be a quarterly thing or semi-annual, like every
Definitely happens
6
multiple
months or
times a
so.
year, right? Where they
Yeah,
do, like, the
yeah. I actually have never paid close enough attention to know if there's like any cadence to it or not, or if it's just when something is happen when they have reason to make announcements and stuff. I lean towards
yeah,
it being the second thing, in addition to it always being on Pokemon Day. And the reason it's Pokemon Day because the original games, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green, came out on February, right? Yeah, February 27th, 1996, over in Japan. So this will be the 30-year anniversary this year of the franchise of Pokemon. And it's actually crazy to think we talk oftentimes like we have a hard time giving Pokemon credit because it is such a successful brand, right? The thing we bring up all the time is like it's the largest grossing media franchise of all time, or that gets thrown around a lot, right?
yeah,
Which is pretty crazy to think about for a brand that's only 30 years old. You know, when you're going up against things like
yeah,
Mickey Mouse and the superheroes and DC and Marvel, like these things that have been around for almost 100 years or over, some of them 30 years is pretty young. So it's pretty crazy to think about how massive the franchise is. But I don't know if you saw, but they are releasing Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green on the eShop for Pokemon Day on the Switch. The original Game Boy Advance games, the original remasters of the original games.
Someone mentioned that in my chat. I will not be, picking any of them up, but yeah, someone had mentioned that to me, wondering if I was gonna play them or not.
I'm also probably not going to buy them because I do still have the games, so it did kind of make me get a little bit of an itch to, like, want to go play them, so I may bust out the old Game Boy Advance on the way to, Seattle, play it a little bit, but I don't know, it is a little enticing to get it on the Switch because then I could play it on my TV, and I also think, I mean, on that big, nice Switch screen, it would probably be kinda cool to be able to play it as opposed to, like, on the I've got an analog pocket, so it's like the tiny little screen, the handheld, like, I don't know. It's fun to, like, play that like that as well, just a little bit more mobile compared to a Switch 2.
Yeah.
The Switch 2 is like a mobile device, but it's, like, also not really like, it's pretty massive, to carry around, like, compared to, like, a Game Boy or a SP or something like that, but I don't know. I think there's good content there for you, Azul. Pro Pokemon player plays the Pokemon video games for the first time, could make a good little YouTube video or something like that. But
Yeah, maybe I'll make a stream out of it or something, who knows? That could be fun still for sure, yeah.
all right, well we'll do just two quick little predictions here. Predict one realistic thing to show up in the Pokemon Presents, and then we'll also do one wish uh for something you would love to see happen in Pokemon Presents, but maybe you recognize it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. You want me to go first on both of them or just one of them?
Whichever you want. You do whichever one
Okay.
first, and I'll follow suit.
Yeah, I think a realistic thing, which I think I'm, like, semi-interested in also, is just, like, more information about Pokemon XP, like, probably
Mm,
talking more about that event, the new is it coinciding with Worlds, or is it, like, happening pre-Worlds? I don't even remember, like, the dates that they talked about.
coinciding with worlds.
Yeah, I think it will be happening, like, before the World Championships even starts. So, yeah, I think they'll probably have some more information about that. I don't know if they're gonna be talking much about the World Championships. I think everyone kinda knows what's going on with that, but I think that's gonna be I mean, that's kinda like the big new thing for Pokemon, like, it's gonna bring so many people to the event, um, and really make it a whole different experience probably this year around. It's gonna be interesting for sure. So I imagine they'll be talking about Pokemon XP in some capacity for sure.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be it's been cool to see over the last it's really just been, like, the last 2 years or so, that they've talked about organized play within these big presentations. So, I'm hopeful that that will continue to be the case and that, yes, Pokemon XP information comes alongside it. So, I also think that's gonna happen. Another thing I think is if they're we already know they're doing something, right? Because they revealed these, like, starter cards, right? But, will be some information about what a 30th anniversary TCG set may look like or what they're doing in the TCG for the 30th anniversary, if anything. So I think that is something I would hope to be able to hear during that. And then a wishful thinking thing, like a wish list item that probably will never happen would be some sort of like career story mode, trading card game, video game where they released the old school sets in chronological order and uh you could play like the Pokemon trading card game over the years, like start at base set and like work your way up,
Mm.
something like that. Or just addition of like old packs or something onto some new game, hopefully not TCG Live, some new trading card game that had like old cards and stuff on it. Probably not going to happen
That'd be
ever.
pretty cool. Mine is, and I'm gonna give give 'em some leeway on this, would be, like, starting in end of 2026, they line up set releases with Japan and the rest of the
It would be a
world.
miracle if that was ever talked about in a
That'd
Pokemon
be a
Presents.
miracle. Maybe something maybe a little bit more realistic that could be pretty cool would be a competitor Hall of Fame. I don't know if that's something that they would announce on something like this, but it feels like it would kind of fit. And then kind of have the first couple, what do they call it? Out of
Inductees.
yeah, inductees or whatever into the Hall of Fame. So something like that could be cool,
That would be really,
for
really
sure.
cool,
And
yeah.
I think that's something that will happen eventually. I think it's, like, fair to maybe say that the game's just not old enough yet to do it, but, I mean, we're getting to the point where some people don't know who Jason Klasinski is. So it's like we're getting to that point where it's like, these names are gonna be forgotten,
All right,
for
5
sure.
names, first ballot Hall of Famers, pick them.
Um, First ballot Hall of Famers, pick 'em. I mean, you probably go, uh, Jason, Yamato, right? Yamato was
Mhm.
2004. Yamato, Jason Yamato. I think Puka's maybe up there. I'd have to, like, think the thing is, like, it's really hard for me to remember, like, international greats. That's where I come up a little bit short. You maybe wouldn't wanna put Ross up there yet because he's still pretty active in the scene. That would be, like,
I
the
think you
only
could I
that would be
think
the only disqualification, but, like, obviously, once he, like,
I
steps
don't think
back
that should
more.
disqualify someone, though.
Yeah. That's the thing is, like, comparing, like, the Pokemon TCG to even, like, esports and especially real sports, it's like a lot of people don't really ever retire. Like, there's not really,
Yeah.
like, a retirement for players. Like,
Well, that's
you just play less usually is what
yeah.
happens.
That's like what it is for poker, right? They have a Hall of Fame and, uh, their, like, Hall of Fame inductees are obviously still playing, right? But like you said,
Yeah.
maybe play at a less or, like, at a lower level than what they used to, like, during their peak, their prime, whatever you may say, and that may be the case for, someone like Ross. I think Ross is definitely a first he's probably one of my 5 of someone to get in. So what you said, Ross Yamato, Puka Jason,
Yeah, Sammy Sakum would probably be a name that
Sammy's
could be up there.
good shout. And a couple other
Uh,
names that come to mind is like some of these early first ballots would probably be like Pramawat is
yeah.
probably a good one, and then like maybe Igor or someone like that.
Yeah, Igor would be a good one for sure as well. Yeah, so there's, like, there's definitely a couple different names to throw out there, but, you could make an argument we're not there
That could be a
yet,
whole
but
podcast episode right there.
putting together the that's a
Pokemon Hall
good
of Fame
yeah.
or doing our Pokemon TCG Mount Rushmore or something like that.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good one to do for sure. We'll have some downtime between NAIC and Worlds as always, so
Plenty of time.
look out for it.
All right. Well, let's keep it rolling here and talk about the Champions League Fukuoka, which took place this past weekend. As Azul mentioned, he did do a live stream where he uh, watch partied the event. So you can check all that out over on his channel. I'm assuming it's still up on the live. And I know you posted like separate videos as well. So lots of things to still see from it. And yeah, this is the first tournament post rotation. So all of the G regulation cards rotated out.
Yeah,
Um,
he is
H
gone.
on, and lots of really good cards left us. Biggest one, I think the biggest conversation coming out from the weekend is the fact that Iono is no longer in the format. And as a side effect of that, there's no good solid hand disruption except for unfair stamp. And so of the top 16 decks, 8 of them, 50% of them used unfair stamp. And I think that that is a difference between like I don't think you would think twice about, oh, half of the decks in Top Cut used Secret Box, right? That's like a consistency card.
Yeah,
But unfair stamp's a little different because it is a very powerful card, right? And some decks will play it sometimes in this current format even now, but uh you're almost a lot of decks feel, I think, forced to play it because it is the only strong hand disruption option.
yeah. It's like, I'm trying to think. It's kinda like what people thought Prime Catcher was gonna be when Prime Catcher was first revealed
Well,
before
Prime
we even
Catcher
played with it.
was what we thought Prime
Oh,
Catcher was gonna be.
well, for, like, the first format, but once we got
Yeah.
more A specs, like, it was like, "Okay, there is things to compete with it." This is a situation where we have all the A specs available, and people are still playing Unfair Stamp at this rate because it is allowing you to do something in the game that nothing else can replicate, and if you have that power card and your opponent does it, you just, like, neutrally have an advantage against your opponent of, "You took your first knockout, I found my Unfair Stamp, I played it," and it's like, you don't always win because you did, but you win such a high percentage of games off of your opponent not drawing well off Unfair Stamp, it's like, why wouldn't you play the card? So now we're naturally seeing, like, every deck play the card, even decks that just can't find it. Like, we see the Arboliva deck or the Mega Absol deck does have ciphers, but the Arboliva deck, you have no way to find your Unfair Stamp besides drawing into your Unfair Stamp, and it's still like, "Yep, this is the best thing to have because it's that good." And I saw one deck, I forget what the deck was, but it was playing like one pet. Oh, it was a Dragapult deck that had one petrol. So you can go Meowth for petrol for Unfair Stamp, I assume is like the main reason. Um, and we see a cipher here. That's another out to the stamp, right? I mean, there's more stuff you can do with the cipher than just find your unfair stamp, but there was a Dragapult list that had a 1/1 knock towel in it. One of the main reasons I have to assume is they find your unfair stamp sooner, being able to combo off that aggressively. And that's what we saw them do on stream is they went Rose's encouragement, I think, plus unfair stamp through
That's a pretty
through the
strong
noctowl
turn.
line. Yeah. So it's like that's I think like already like a glaring flaw of this card pool, of this post rotation card pool is like the fact that Unfair Stamp is such a high priority card, and the way it's used to win games is kind of doing its namesake justice, right? It is kind of an unfair card in comparison to the rest of the card pool. It literally is just like, oh, you took your first KO. I play Unfair Stamp. I hope you brick, or hope you whiff a turn of your powerful attack. Maybe you still do something, but if you don't do what you wanted to do, now I'm ahead on tempo, and your only comeback out is your Unfair Stamp, or maybe there is no comeback out at that point, and the game's just over.
I do think that there is opportunity with the way this is set up. Just, I mean, let's remember as well, this is the very first tournament of this format. There's been no meta development yet. And there is, I think, opportunity for that, right? A card like Genesect is something that is still legal. So that's something that we could see players utilize. And also, like, we could see players playing things that play off the board better, right? Actively getting their Pheasantipity in play, actively, more Dracloak engine, more the Dunsparce engine, like things that you can keep Pokemon in play to keep yourself established where Unfair Stamp is not as big of a hindrance to
Yeah,
you. So I still think there's opportunity for some of that sort of development where it won't feel quite this terrible. And there have been good formats in the past that didn't have strong hand disruption, but this is something you talked about on your stream this weekend. It does feel like some of the best TCG formats, when you think about them, had cards like In or Rockets Admin or INO
yeah,
illegal in them.
yeah.
Um,
Or the Unfair Stamp, or even Roxanne, like something. And I think Roxanne is actually a great card to like look at for a format like this where it's like A-Spec being an item card and then being your only out to it, forcing your A-Spec to be the unfair. It just makes it feel like more toxic, basically. If everyone just had Roxanne in this form, if we had Roxanne in this format, like things would be dramatically different. I feel like in terms of that part aspect, like that's like a, and I think the problem with it is like it feels like it's a constant aspect in every deck in every matchup. Not all the way, like you said, 8 of the top 16 are playing unfair step, not the full top 16, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like earlier on, I don't think unfair stamp inclusion wasn't at like a 50% rate. It was less than that. I think we'll see it continue to maybe climb up to the point where like
mm.
75% of decks are playing unfair stamp because it's just like, why would you not just play a card that gives you like that much of a win condition potentially? Like you said, Genesect, we saw Daichi in day one playing Alakazam with Genesect and Lucky Helmets. And then also when to take a knockout, maybe that's what we need to see more of an adjustment around. There was definitely a couple times, at least once that I can remember off the top of my head, where someone KO'd a Badoo when it's like, I don't know if you want to KO that Badoo there. You're not set up enough to deal with unfair stamp. But it is kind of a shame that if every deck turns down to like if every matchup devolves to I can't take this knockout because I have to deal with unfair stamp, then every matchup starts to feel very similar in terms of how the game plays out. So that's kind of like my fear. I think we did see that from the Champions League this weekend a little bit for sure as well. The dominance of unfair stamp, how much you have to play around it, and it doesn't matter what deck you're playing. It doesn't matter what deck your opponent's playing. You're both playing around it actively in like every game you're playing. So that's where things feels a little repetitive despite the different decks. And we did see some pretty crazy decks in the finals, especially. So the variety and like the surprise, I think from the tournament was still kind of cool. We did see some surprising stuff, some stuff that was like way off the radar, and decks that we thought were just kind of gone from the format, basically.
So yeah, let's talk about some of the decks now that we've got the unfair stamp discussion out of the way. And I think outside of unfair stamp, a huge card to talk about from the weekend, like probably the biggest winner outside of unfair stamp, is what am I going to say? Got a guess?
Ogrepon?
Teal Mask Ogre Pawn EX, used in a lot of different decks. Because it turns out just getting another energy into play and also drawing a card, it's a pretty
Yeah.
strong effect. It's been strong since it came out. There's just been other things to play that are better. Teal Mask a little more aggressive maybe compared to, things like Gardevoir where there's the disruption aspect to it, where this is like just a card like this is really strong in a format like this where you're gonna be favored if you're the one who's pushing the aggression, right?
Yeah, I guess, like, most recently, it hasn't been overly meta relevant, but, like,
Mhm.
prior to, like, Mega Absol, which is kinda funny because Mega Absol is weak to grass, but prior to Mega, like, 'cause, like, Raging Bolt fell off,
Yeah. It fell
pretty
off, like,
aggressively.
by it was really kind of like Worlds, like, where Golden Go
Yeah, kinda starts to
was
take
so
over.
popular, right? Felt like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
matchup wasn't very good, and Charizard matchup's never been that good, so
You start to see the Ogerpon, which is kinda funny once again because that's weak to grass, and Ogerpon
yeah,
is
yeah.
like everything that's weak to grass is, like, better, and Ogerpon is, like, getting worse in the format, but, yeah, I think you're right, we do see it's kind of once again, it had its moment with Regidrago and Raging Bolt, earlier on in its lifespan, and now it's having its moment again, just kinda post-rotation for just being a really strong card, and there being less strong cards to kind of, put against it in terms of, like, Gardevoir, Golden Ghost, stuff like that. And one of its partners in the winning deck, or I guess it being a partner in the winning deck to Mega Absol was definitely a huge surprise. Absol box,
Yep.
no Arvin, no Turbo Energize. We got Cyrano, we got E switches instead, but it still survived the rotation, which is a pretty big shock to see, to be honest. I don't think actually maybe they didn't stream the other top four because I think we maybe didn't see this deck until the finals, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. So it was like a pretty big surprise when they like brought out both decks, or maybe we did see it, but we didn't see it at all until top four. I don't even know how many people were playing this deck at the tournament. To be honest, it could have been just this player. Um,
And this deck is really cool, I think. Obviously, the combination of Mega Absol, Mega King, like Mega Absol is a strong card, right? Um, it makes you wonder too, though. I mean, we could be comboing off right now in the format turn one Claw of Darkness, Crispin plus uh Teal Dance plus Energy Switch. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, come on, let's step it up. Get some turn one Claw of
no,
Darkness in
no
there.
one's turn one Claw of Dark. I wonder if they actually did that at all in the tournament. Probably not. Maybe once. Maybe once.
No, definitely a little bit of a similar setup to like currently where it's like you're not attacking on your first turn usually. You're playing it slow, get some energy into play, setting up through the Serrano with the Meowth as well. This is another big winner from the weekend, Meowth proving it is
Yeah.
a very good card. I don't think that's a huge surprise by any means, but this was played in most of the decks that are in top 16. What's cool about the engine here is you can actually Serrano for a Meowth and then set yourself up to get like Crispin for the next turn. So you can
Yeah.
like chain together two turns. And when there's no Io, that's a pretty strong combination.
Yeah. We saw very little Judge on the weekend. We did see a Harlequin make its way to top 16. We'll take a look at that in a second as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, really interesting builds. Got the area zeros in there, so you can go a little bit wider. I mean, you have the Ogrepons and the Meowth that need to make their way onto the bench now pretty consistently. So you need a little bit more space to work with. The deck isn't as consistent. You're probably choosing second with this deck, would be my guess, because you want to like turn one Brox or Cyrano into the Crispin on the following turn, or just get the Ogrepon stuff set up on the following turn. It feels like going first with this deck would be pretty weak. Because you'd be really you have so few, like we see Raging Bolt lists playing like four Ogrepon, four Raging Bolt, like Sage and Park, I think played four Ogrepon, four Raging Bolt, four Meowth in his deck. So it's
I saw
like,
that.
yeah, without Nest Ball, finding your Pokemon's pretty tough. So this must be, I feel like this has to be a go second deck, and you're looking for that initial Pokemon setup card into a Crispin or Cypher Maniac combo to get into the Absol on the following turn.
Yeah, dude, this deck list picture literally looks like he opened his binder. Like it doesn't look like a deck list picture at all, but it's funny to see.
Super straightforward build there from Sajin. And yeah, that is like and we'll take a look at those lists here. Yeah, Raging Bolt actually not going anywhere apparently. But yeah, the Absol deck making its way to the getting the dub is pretty surprising. And also overcoming what seems like a pretty bad matchup. Um, but if I remember correctly, if you watch the match, Unfair Stamp I think was pretty effective in that one in the mid game. Um, which is what you can expect. But yeah, the another deck that kind of came out of nowhere.
Arboliva? What?
Yeah.
Did
This is the
like,
Arvo
okay, let's be
Leva.
real. Like, how many people watching this even knew like what this card did before the Champions League this weekend, right? I feel like it's been a while since we've seen something like that happen where it's like this card that's been widely considered to be no good, a bulk card. Most people didn't even read the card when they got it or when they opened it in a
Yeah.
pack or whatever. Uh Second place at a 7,000 person tournament. Are you kidding me? Like that is insane. Seemingly out of nowhere. And it kind of makes sense, right? Oil salvo. Can't believe that's something I might have to say in the future on stream. Where you can choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 6 times. You can choose the same Pokemon twice. So you can spread these damage counters in multiples of 20
Yeah.
across your opponent's Pokemon. There's got to be a better way to word this, by the way, but that's what it means. And for each time you choose a Pokemon, you do 20 damage to it. So you can do 120 damage to one thing, you can do 20 damage to 6 things, or some combination of that.
Yeah. And for anyone who like is unfamiliar, like Shaman does prevent this Pokemon's damage unless it hits the active. It's not like it's not damage placed, it's dealing damage. But yeah, this is like like I actually played a decent amount with Arboliva. I actually played a lot with Arboliva, but I played with like a Dusknoir Badoo build. There's a Badoo in this list, but this is way much more so an Ogerpon Meganium deck that just needed a little something else in the deck.
Yeah.
And like Arborleva is that little something to kind of make it more well-rounded. And honestly, the Arborleva, it's like pretty good against stuff like Dragapult or even like Lucario. Early game, you just sit there sniping off the Riolus, the Dreepies, the Drakloaks, and then build up your Ogrepons on the bench and then get ready for some big one-hit KOs with your Ogrepons once it gets to that point in the game. So yeah, it really is a Meganium Ogrepon deck that it's just that's not good enough. You need a little bit more. Arboliva is that little bit more to give you a little bit more of depth of strategy in enough matchups. And yeah,
And it's
definitely a huge
crazy,
surprise.
like the combination of Forest and Dawn gets this guy in play, and it's just,
Yeah.
and you just need one energy card and you're good to go. Pretty wild.
Yeah, and that's where it's like that's why it even feels like a little bit weirder. It's like Meganium, it doesn't do anything for Arboliva except allow it to retreat for one energy once you're done sniping. Like that's like it does nothing for what Arboliva does, but it really is just all about having something else to do besides just hit with Ogre Pawn. And being able to snipe the benches, I mean, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah. Hey, it one shots, you know, Grimmsnarl, which was also a popular deck, it seemed like on the weekend, and Absol. So like, I mean, it's got that going for it too. Two
Yeah.
energy, one hit KO those guys.
And this is one of like the saddest things I think about the format initially on glance. It's like it seems like just like maximum belt or not maximum belt, max rod would be really good in here, but you're kind of forced to play the unfair stamp because it is like so powerful. Um, but yeah, once again, we'll see how things evolve, but I don't know. Unfair stamp seems like just kind of seems like the ace spec right now. Finding
Yeah,
honestly finding ways to like I feel like maybe the evolution of this format is gonna be finding ways to not take KOs while still setting up your board, which is what the third place deck does pretty well, of course. Dragapult's pretty good at not taking knockouts, but still progressing towards winning the game. And we saw a bunch of different builds, honestly, of Dragapult throughout the weekend. Nothing too
yeah,
extreme, but this
I,
is definitely one of the more unique ones.
yeah. I still think it's kind of up in the air. Like, what's the best way to go with Dragapult? There was a little Dragapult Dusknoir. It was definitely. It seemed like this was way less popular
Yeah.
compared to the other versions of Dragapult now. But for the most part, I think pretty safe
This
to
is
say
like the
all
vanilla
around. This is, yeah, this is much more what I feel like you expect from the deck. Um, Heading into this new format. Crispin to set yourself up, and Unfair Stamp as the A spec, of course.
of course, gotta have the unfair stamp. Um, but yeah, the 4 Poff and 4 Crispin, 4 Lilies. And like that one list that we looked at had the 2 Kangaskhan. I
Yeah.
don't know how many people are going to be picking up on the Kangaskhan Latias inclusion. This one
Hey,
still has 4 Crispin, but only 2 Lily. No, nobody Poffin as well. Nobody Poffin in this list. So make note of that
probably
as
some
well.
questionable things here, but Kangaskhan is probably one of the better answers to getting Unfair Stamped. So
That is true. Yeah, honestly, just having more draw power potential in play. Not going to hate that. 3 Monkey Dory as well. So maybe like just good for the maybe just a good mirror match build.
yeah. And there was some Terra focused builds as well. None making cut here. Uh
Yeah, there was, like, some that were, like, Water Pond Dragapult
yeah, with
style deck.
Noctowls.
Yeah, didn't see it. Well, they could be still in top 32. They did cut to top 32, we just only have the top 16 lists to work with, today.
Yeah. And you mentioned it. We already talked about it with Sajin, but yes, Raging Bolt not dead. No Sada, no problem. And honestly, it kind of makes sense, right? Crispin does still get you 2 energy cards in play. You don't draw
Yeah.
cards like you do with Sada. But I think, honestly, to me, I think the big card here is Glass Trumpet, just an item card that gets you 2 energy cards back. Of course, Teal Mask Ogrepon, a big factor here as well. Um, but yeah, just throw a bunch of energy in play and one hit KO whatever's in front of you with Bellowing Thunder.
Yep. Yeah, and we still only like one boss's orders in here. Once again, unfair stamp is the 8 spec, but Glass Trumpet really is like the carry card, I feel like at this point. You just need to like stabilize early game and have enough energy when you attack with your Raging Bolt, you don't have to discard 2 off your Raging Bolts. And then Glass Trumpet plus Overpawn kind of carries your energy in play for the rest of the game. So you can actually uh the deck actually feels like it functions without Sada, the energy acceleration to the Raging Bolts in the late game.
Mhm. Crustle deck here in top was this top four? Top eight, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Shoichi Saito, who has had plenty of success.
Yeah, he's been competing a lot, man. He's been
Yeah.
like competing at a lot of different tournaments. We've seen him on stream quite a few times outside of Japan as well. He's made his way on stream. I was almost kind of like wondering when we're gonna see him. Like, I feel like he hasn't had like that breakout tournament really yet. To be honest, we've seen him pop up so much, but like, yeah, I mean, he made cut here, but like a finals at a North American regional or IC or even a top cut at IC or something like that. So feels like it's kind of just waiting for it to happen for the most part with how much he's been
But yeah,
competing.
with the Crustle, and there's a lot of really interesting things kind of going on with this list.
Yeah, there's. I
The
mean, you got the.
Pheasantipity, I still don't quite understand what the
I
purpose of this card is. It took me a while to kinda get onto the Articuno, but I saw someone talk about it where it's like, it solos,
Alakazam.
Alakazam, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Pheasantipity, I think, might be for Hariyama against Lucario. Otherwise, you can't beat them when they get the Hariyamas online. But
Mm,
for a single psychic, you do. It's weak to psychic, so you do 60. It does 70 to itself. So with a Crispin or 2 energy on it, you would KO a Hariyama theoretically, and then theoretically, because of its ability, you could survive if you had a dark energy on it. That's my only guess as to why you'd play it.
interesting. But yeah, very focused on Crustle. I do have to I mean, several of these decks just fold to Crustle, right?
Yep.
You just put that guy
Quite a
in
few, to be
play,
honest. Yeah.
and they lose. Like, what does the Kangaskhan deck have for it? Nothing, right? You can attack with Psyduck or Monkey Dory.
Yeah. If they misplay, you could terminal
Oh, no,
period,
this guy
but
hits through it, right?
if they want to KO you back, so
It's
probably
not
not.
great.
Yeah, not working out in Ogrepon's favor.
Well, you got Meganium here in this one.
Meganium might. If you get the thing is like it's more of a Monkey Dory deck than a Crustal deck. Like you could just sit 4 Monkey Dories on your bench
Mhm.
and then just like wait for them to punch a Crustal, and then you just move it all back to their side of the field. Put a Hero's Cape on it, and you're kind of cooking. So
And this is the first non-unfair stamp A spec we have
yes,
seen, which is Hero's Cape, and part of that reason probably is because you don't really care
yeah,
what cards your opponent has in their hand. You just care about
what you have.
stabilizing and surviving yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it qualifies. It like kind of like it's obviously a non-unfair stamp deck, but it doesn't really qualify in terms of what we how we like unfair stamp is like being perceived in the format. Like it's not like a win for the good guys. Crustle not playing unfair stamp. Just Crustle being Crustle.
And then I think one a lot of people were excited to see was the Rockets Haunch Crow making it all the way to top 8.
Yeah.
This is a pretty fun deck, honestly, to play with. I've played with it a little bit in the current format, and it definitely feels a lot better when there's no Iono running around.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this one does have the miracle headset. I'm more tempted to give this one as a win for the good guys, with the
Yeah,
miracle headset inclusion there for sure. Because and it is
even though
pretty good in
t-
the deck.
even
I
though
was like
Team Rocket
actually
is the bad guys.
they're the good guys as long as they're not playing unfair stamp. And actually, I like the Miracle headset. I was like, when I first played with the deck, I was like, I don't know about the Miracle headset, but I'll give it a try. Everyone's doing it, but it actually feels pretty good in the deck. Like, it just kind of feels nice to have the mid late game as like an out for more supporters. So, this list specifically, it's got the Pheasantipity in there. I feel like we don't ever see that in the Rockets decks, of course, because the uh the drop off in your Team Rockets are already on a draw power. But mid late game, I mean, it's hard to argue against Fezandipity being on the board over the Ariana. Also, it allows you to like Archer spam more efficiently, right? Because you're gonna instead of just drawing the 5 off Archer plus maybe 2 off Stadium, you get +3 off the Fez. So, and
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally the best hand disruption supporter in the format is Archer. So, like, that's maybe one thing we see carry Team Rocket's decks a little bit in this format.
And there was a
Um,
decent amount of Mewtwo on the weekend as
yep,
well, mostly for the same reason, right? Archer is the strongest option
yeah,
for a supporter-based hand disruption, and they all looked pretty similar to this, right?
yeah.
With the Lily's Clefairy in the mix, a couple of Rocket's Mimikyu.
Yeah, and then heavy on the Lily's determination as well. It's also something we saw from pretty much every single list, which I think it does kind of make sense. Just the best draw supporter in the game. Ariana can feel a little awkward in the mid game, and we see that it's almost like it's not like you're cutting a ton of Ariana. Like most lists would usually play 4 Ariana, 4 Transceiver. This is playing 3 Ariana, 4 Transceiver, and 4 Lily on top of that. So just like
Yeah.
a lot of consistency supporters, making sure you're playing games.
And Lily,
Of
of course,
course,
gives you a good supporter when you have Clefairy in play.
yeah, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more effective for sure. So,
And you can still
um,
use all these other Rocket supporters
yeah,
when Clefairy's in play. Ariana is really the only one that has that downside of, like, you can only play it if all you have in play are Rocket's Pokemon. You can play all of these other ones, though.
yeah. And then well, you can still play Ariana, you just get the less powerful draw off of it.
Good
But
point. Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not
Drop
very
to
good though. Drop
5.
drop to 5 is pretty weak. It's not great. I was gonna say Team Rocket's Mewtwo Spite Ops has always felt like like the power level has always felt like, oh, this is like pretty good, but it's just like it was always hard for it to overcome the true powerhouses of the format. So this kind of feels similar to um what's the deck I'm thinking about? Can we just talk about it? Or am I look at the top 16 again? There's like a deck that's on the top of my head.
Oh, Honchkrow?
Not Honchkrow. Oh, Lucario. Like it's like Lucario, where it's like these decks feel pretty good, but it's like there's
Sure.
decks that are just better than them. Like overpowered decks. These things are like too honest. The decks are just too honest. But
Too fair.
rotation hits. There's not enough other dishonest decks to kind of fill the void, and now these more honest, powerful Pokemon decks kind of get to fill in to the metagame as competitive decks. I think Mewtwo is one of those decks, and that's why we see it being successful here at Champions League. Also,
Yeah,
good
and
good Dragapult matchup. Good Dragapult matchup. Can't go wrong with that right now. Definitely, and I guess I would say that by far the most popular deck of the tournament was Dragapult for sure.
you mentioned Lucario, there were a couple of those in here, and that honestly, Lucario seemed like the second most popular deck, in
It
the
probably
tournament,
was, yeah.
honestly. Um,
Bunch of different ways to play it too. Like this build here,
Insanely powerful card, insanely powerful engine, right? Solrock Lunatone, one of the best engines in the game. Uh, Fighting Gong, one of the best options in the game. Like, it just all works so well. It's just weak to Psychic, so it can't be successful right now in the game because it is just gate kept by Gardevoir. But no Gardevoir, no problem, man. Lucario, lots
yeah,
of
it is.
damage.
That is true, but then at Champions League, they revealed a bunch of psychic cards. So it's like
Yeah.
the time is now for Lucario, I feel like right now. But even then, you see one thing we didn't mention about all of the Dragapult builds, or I think all of them, they all play Clefairy, which is good in the mirror match and it's good against Lucario.
Yeah.
So they all have Lucario or they all have Clefairy. Even Latias can be an effective attacker against Lucario. We saw that on stream
Oh,
happen.
was it this
So
guy that had the
yeah,
Galaxy Brain, like, turn 1 Brox over turn 1 Lilies to, like, get Latias rolling? That was so sick.
yeah, start to build up the Latias and play.
I was
Uh,
like, dude, because it was late and I was like watching that. And I was like, dude, what are these players doing, man?
I
This guy
mean,
has a dead hand. Why would he not get the lilies? And then as soon I was like, dude, why is he putting this Latias in play? And then as soon as he put the energy on it, I was like, he's a genius.
to be fair though, I don't think either of us knew he doesn't play Buddy Poffin. So if you Lily
Yeah, yeah,
there,
yeah.
like maybe it was just better to Brox to find the basics.
I did see
Um,
that. Someone tweeted that, like, where this list doesn't play Buddy Poffin, right? So, like, the lilies was not gonna
less
be nearly
effective.
as effective, right? And only 3 Dreepy in the list as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was super it was a cool moment for sure.
In the energy switch, honestly, energy switch, many we saw it be pretty effective multiple times in Dragon Ball lists that play it. And once I like realized that some people were playing it, like I would call out moments where I was like, energy switch is pretty good here for the Dragon Ball player if they play it. Of course, we don't know, but I honestly, I would. I wouldn't be surprised if one of Energy Switch becomes a staple in Dragapult because it was like super effective consistently throughout the games we saw from Dragapult. Multiple Monkey Dory
Yeah.
potential, moving, just getting your energy from like a Dragapult to a Dragapult because like your early Crispins can just be weird with where you put your energy. So being able to like salvage those energies later on can be really really nice. So the Energy Switch definitely something to keep in mind if you're going to be a Dragapult enjoyer moving forward.
So this is like a just straight it's just Lucario version
Yeah,
of the deck, and then we've got this build that has Hariyama in it, which is probably the more common way you will see it
yeah.
played.
This is like I don't know, traditional Lucario right here is what this build is compared to the other one had the Monkey
Yeah.
Dories, just trying to do things with Lucario.
Reminder for the new special fighting energy, prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to the fighting Pokemon this
Yeah,
card is attached to. Now, one thing I
fighting
will
Pokemon.
say missing from this top cut, the best new energy card and maybe the best special energy I don't know, in the last couple years,
Pretty good,
honestly,
yeah.
is the new psychic energy where you attach it and go get 2 psychic dudes missing from this top cut. Might be in
Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably some in top 32, but that card is I just can't get over how good that card is.
Yeah, no super heavy Dusknoir decks in the cut, no Mega Diancie builds. That is what Daichi and Rahul played in phase 2 or day 2 of the tournament. We saw Daichi on stream twice, actually, once in day 1 with the Alakazam. Then he switched, actually, for anyone who's unaware. You can switch your decks from day 1 to day 2, just entirely, and switch to like a Jellicent Dusknoir. I guess it's less of a Mega Diancie deck. It's more of a Jellicent deck, actually. I had
Yeah,
4 of the energy in there. So
because it's
definitely an
friggin'
interesting build.
broken, dude.
It's pretty good, yeah, just and specifically with Frillish, like, there's no Buddy Poffins in this list, but you can't Buddy Poffin for Frillish anyways, so play more of those energies, find your Pokemon, for sure. Yeah, definitely a cool build, going heavy into the item lock. It
I
had
don't know
the
about those
surfers.
I don't know about the surfers.
3 Judge, though? Hey, that's some hand disruption.
That is I mean, Judge
What's
plus
there?
Jelly does not sound fun to play against.
Yeah, Judge Jelly is definitely something. I mean, and this deck is actually choosing second, which is like another, like, if you can find some good going second decks in this format, like, that's a big advantage, I think, to have, because I think most people are choosing first, blind with most decks. Maybe Pult's still choosing second. You still have the Badoo combo, of course.
This was cool because, like, this is, like, stuff like this, like, Absol Kangaskhan, Ogerpon Meganium, these are all, like, existing archetypes, right? This is
Yeah.
all but this was, like, a new archetype, just Jellicent Dusknoir as, like, on its own, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Something that, like, I'd seen people, like, trying it out in this format, but it's not like it's not like a real deck. It's like a fake deck.
It's not a crazy, like, thing to think about, right? Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this psychic guy is good, and this psychic guy is good.
Let's put them together.
The purple guys go together." But it is cool to see, like, this is more innovative than a lot of this, it feels like, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Yeah, maybe some of them made their way into top 32. We're not sure, because we only have the top 16 results right now. Like I mentioned, even on Pokebook, they only have top 16. So I think it'd be cool to check out the other Raging Bolts.
I did wanna mention the
Um,
kinda, like,
oh
Terra
yeah,
box decks, well, this is, like, Ogerpon box, and
yeah.
then there was a Terra box as well.
One with it's kind of like just one with Noctowl, one without Noctowl. To be honest, they have the same attacker lineup,
Mhm.
and one's playing Noctowl, one's not playing Noctowl. And we also saw a pretty cool Terra box build from Shintaro. Uh,
Oh,
he
his game on
played
stream was so lame.
Yeah, well, no, but it was cool. He almost made the comeback though. That it was like
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. I don't know about the Zoroark player made some questionable plays. I think it's hard to tell for sure because, yeah, I don't know what resources for sure the players had, of course, but like um, he just like made a play where he KO'd Shintaro's Dusclops, and Shintaro had no win condition, but chose to just punch
Mhm.
the water pawn, and it gave. I mean, Shintaro had top deck there. I'm pretty sure Shintaro had game, but he had nothing
Right.
on board. He was like literally living off the top deck. So that might be something more to, and he was playing Prime Catcher, not on Fair Stamp, but he's trying to like for like Briar combos. I'm sure is why you would do that. So that might be something further to investigate. Is just like these heavy because it feels like that deck is like way more aggressive in terms of just trying to win the prize trade. that is the objective to win the prize trade. Whereas like the other decks, obviously that is like the objective, but they're like I don't know, it feels like they're doing it in a less aggressive fashion, where it's like they're almost giving themselves more time to make comebacks through their unfair stamp. But like the Terror Box decks don't really have that luxury. Even like this deck here that we're looking at doesn't really have that luxury. You kind of have to win now. Another thing that we got saw get abused a lot, or potentially get abused, was just retreat locking. Sobs. Didn't see any Evitals, but clutches would have been pretty effective for sure. So I wonder how we'll see the metagame revolve or evolve around that as well. Because there's like, look at this deck. There's no mobility besides the Iron Leaves.
Yeah.
You get clutched, you're stuck.
Any Stunfisk enjoyers in the chat?
Yeah. We got options. We got so many options for retreat lockers right now.
Maractus.
Yeah. Miraculous doesn't even rotate as well. I think we have the whole squad. We have the full lineup to choose from. Like 6
Your
different retreat
choice of
lockers.
retreat locker. Some control deck will play all of them so you can lock whatever is resistant and like do 0 damage. Like it's gonna happen.
You could definitely get quite a few in there for sure. But this is the Joltik Radiant Bolt deck. And yeah, Petrol for the trolley. At first I was like, dude, that is not enough outs to Petrol. But we got some cats in here. Ultra Ball for Meowth, for Petrol, for Trolley, play Trolley, full setup, retreat to Joltik, use Joltik, um, set up your board. Kind of like the idea of it. The only card that is like it stands out to me as missing, but it kind of makes sense is no Kangaskhan. But if you're using Joltik, it opens up the 1, 2, 3 price trade, so it makes sense to not include the Kangaskhan, I guess, for that reason.
Yeah, less trumpet in this build as well because you're charging more
Yeah,
energy into play quickly, right? I mean, 4 energy off like that's a lot of energy being thrown into
yeah,
play. We talked about it whenever this card got revealed. Like this is like the best uh energy
acceleration
accelerating
attack
attack like of all
ever.
time.
Yeah,
Even though it is, I mean, it is locked into those 2 types. Like it is just insane that this little guy pulls 4 energy from the deck. I don't think that can be overstated.
it's a lot. Also, the water pawns in there as well. So you got that one of water. Get in there with a torrential pump or a sob. Get in there with a sob.
Hit him with a sob. Make them sob.
And make them cry.
That's
But yeah,
my
I think
goal when
that
I play Pokemon cards.
I
Make
think
my
that is
opponents
the
cry.
full top 16 then, right? Took a look at all the lists there.
I think we did. We hit them all.
Yeah, overall, I would say like I said at the beginning of it when we did the intros, like it felt like the gameplay overall was like of a pretty high level. Champions League things are a little bit more gimmicky just because it is best of one. Like that is just gonna lead to more gimmicky match results and gameplay and stuff. But it was enjoyable to watch still. A lot of times when you're analyzing the gameplay, it's like you're like, all right, this player is playing fun for unfair stamp. And actually, we saw it 2 times. Oh yeah, once was in the finals, I think. Player A draws unfair stamp, and unfair stamps player B into unfair stamp, and then player B unfair stamp. So it's
Let's
like
go.
it was like the only card they could use to come back would be unfair stamp off the unfair stamp. They found the unfair stamp. Um,
Is that going to be
so
the meta to be the player to unfair stamp second?
I mean, as long as you have access to it, you have enough access to it. But yeah, I mean,
I
I think that will be interesting. The development around how you play the game, Genesect getting involved, like you mentioned, not taking KOs, being more tedious with your knockouts, board state. But it will still be pretty boring or like I don't know, kind of lame if it's just like both people build up their board until they're like, all right, well, I have to go now, and then they attack and they still lose to unfair stamp. It's like I try to posture as much as I can to deal with unfair stamp, but I can only do so much, and here I am, and then I attack, and then my opponent plays the unfair stamp, and I lose the game. So it's still kind of like a worry for me, but we'll see how things play out. There's a lot to play out. I'm gonna try and minimize the doom and gloom. Try and minimize the doom and gloom. So
have a positive attitude, buddy. Come on.
yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, we're all still playing Pokemon. We're still going to have a good time regardless. But it there's a difference as well between like just playing the game and then like competing, right? And I think that when you're competing, those things get amplified a lot. The like minimal things of the smaller things of like uh games feeling like they're playing out the same way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I kind of felt going into Toronto. I was like, man, picking a deck for this tournament is miserable. Like, unless you're just like playing your deck, like trying to pick a deck for this format is terrible. I really enjoyed the gameplay at Toronto, but being like, like, trying to figure out a deck to play for Toronto was like, I don't enjoy this at all. Like, I wish I
Yeah.
just, like, was committed to Dragapult or committed to Guard for, because then I could, like, remove that whole aspect of trying to pick a deck, and just pick my favorite top deck, but I, like, wasn't trying to compete. I hadn't been competing for so long, I didn't have a favorite top deck, but I was really enjoying the format, right? Just playing any of the top decks or any of the weird decks. I was really having a lot of fun with that, but then when I had to, like, pick a competitive deck, I was like, "This sucks." But actually, playing Charizard in Toronto was still pretty fun, and you really got to I really got to see that depth of gameplay that the format has to offer for sure. We continue to see that, of course, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see a
Let's recap our
lot more poach rotation format to be played.
let's recap our predictions real quick. We can't fully do this because we made our predictions based off of the top 32 and we only
Yeah,
have the top 16 lists. So we'll revisit this next week if the top 32 lists do get unveiled in the next 7 days. But for now, our first prediction was how many Dragapult would be in cut. Azul said seven, I said eight. And with the top 16, it is four.
so it's
So
looking
it's
decent for both of us.
close. Yeah.
Yeah,
And other prediction was pick a non-Pult deck to make cut. Azul picked a Venusaur. I picked Mega Starmie. Neither of those two are in the top 16.
so we're we're holding out for that top 32 placement.
I don't
We'll
do we I don't
see.
even think there was any I don't remember seeing a Mega Starmie on the stream at all.
There was 2. We saw 2 Mega Starmie
Okay.
decks total. One of them was a 1/1 in a Greninja deck, Greninja EX. So, I mean, it wasn't a Starmie deck, but it did make an appearance, I
Oh,
guess.
I
I
forgot that friggin' Greninja is legal. There was none of that card?
Greninja EX?
Oh, it's not Mega Greninja, right?
Oh, no,
That's
no,
not out
not Mega,
yet.
not
Yeah,
Mega.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
no.
The other yeah. Never
I
mind.
thought I saw a top 32. I can't find it now, though. A top 32, meta breakdown. But I checked on Pokebook, and Pokebook
Mm,
actually, you know what? Let me scroll a little bit further because Pokebook do be tweeting. Hold
they
on.
do
Oh
be
my
tweeting.
dude, they be tweeting though. This is
Well,
insane.
it's like news,
Well, no, I
basically.
know, but it's like it's possible they still tweeted the the top 32 meta breakdown. I'm still
It
scrolling.
might
Okay,
have been a
I think it
City
was
League
someone else.
graph.
No, it was for I saw the City Leaves grass, but it was different than those, and I was like almost positive I remember it being for Fukuoka. So I think it was someone else who tweeted it. Maybe like Hegster retweeted it. Take a quick look, but if I can't find it, it's
Yeah, I don't see
fine.
it on Pokebook. I scrolled through as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure where I saw it, but I thought I saw a, meta chart breakdown. It was different than the ones that Pokebook tweets out, so I think it was probably for Fukuoka. I can't find it, so it's fine. But Dragapult was like a third of Top Cutter roughly, so we might be close.
And then our last prediction was what would be the highest placing A spec excluding unfair stamp. And we can still do this one. Azul predicted Legacy Energy. I predicted Prime Energy, and neither of those two deck cards were in the top 16. And the answer was Heroes Cape, just like we would have thought.
Yeah, gotta predict the Hero's Cape next time. Crust.
It does seem like Maximum Belt is still a strong option. There was three of the top 16 playing it, right? Seems good in Lucario. Seems good in Mewtwo, right?
Yeah.
But
I think
Unfair Stamp is
Mewtwo
also very good.
I guess it's just really good on the Spite Ops, to be honest. I think if, like, it didn't matter on Spite Ops, you wouldn't play Maximum Belt, but it's really good on Spite Ops, the KO Phesandipides and stuff like that. Because for the Mewtwo, you have the Clefairy, so it's, like, way less relevant
Oh,
for
sure.
KOing the
Okay.
Dragapults.
Am I
Um,
tripping then? What are the decks that played it?
no, you are. The Mewtwo's did play Maximum Belt.
Okay.
I'm saying, like, it's, like, the reason to play it, I think, is because it makes Spite Ops a way more formidable threat, like, more so than Mewtwo. But, like, Bangle gets you there as well, so you could, like, open up that ace-spec spots possibly and just put a Bangle in there so your Spite Ops can kill Pheasantipity and Ogerpon.
Spine Up's kind of tough, honestly.
Yeah, he is kinda tough. He also KOs the cat. He KOs Meowth. And we did see dude, it was the most hype moment during the stream. We saw Meowth to boss Meowth and KO the opponent's Meowth. It was the best moment of the stream by far. It only happened once. I predicted it would happen twice in day 1, but it happened once in day 2 total for the whole tournament, but it was still so sick, man. It was so sick.
Something else that was definitely sick, and I think the question you probably get asked the most during the Champions League streams is, have they revealed the new cards yet? What about the new cards? Did they have the new cards? And they did
Everyone out
eventually
there who's listening
reveal. New
They
cards.
they reveal the new cards before Top Cut, after
Azul,
day 2 Swiss.
you know it doesn't matter.
Dude, I'm trying to, like it's kinda like,
It is so, if you spend any
I'm
time
minimizing the herd, like, the herd of questions that could be coming, I gotta, like, just get ahead of it as much as I can.
Azul is so much better at this than most streamers. Most streamers will just ignore the repeat questions, but it's one of the things that every streamer has to deal with is like repeat questions. People, because in streaming, people come and go and stay
Yeah.
for a few minutes and leave and then come back. And so it's like you have to deal with people asking the same questions over and over and over again for your literal entire day. And I will say Azul, to give him some credit, does handle it pretty well and answers people uh pretty regularly, even if he's just answered the question like 30 minutes ago. Someone who never dealt with it well was Grant. It would always drive him insane when he was streaming. Like, dude, I just answered this question. Why are they asking again? He
Yeah.
would put Azul has like a command in his title of like exclamation point majors, right? So people, because that's something you get asked a lot, right? Is
Yeah.
what tournaments are you going to? So hopefully people just see that, type it in. They don't have to ask you. Grant's Grant's stream titles would have like 4 exclamation point things and for people like commands for people to type so they'd stop asking him the same questions over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. I try to make my chat as command friendly as possible. I got commands for a lot of things, but then yeah, I don't mind answering the question multiple times. Not a huge deal. Although I should probably put command card reveals next time and let people know when it. I should probably put that command in the title next time.
Yeah.
Remember that
You
one.
also can like just don't read those messages out loud. Just go past it, let someone in chat answer them. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to read every
That's what I
message
try
you
and do a
see.
little bit more. Yeah, that's what I try and do a little bit more is like let the chat's pretty helpful with that. Shout out to chat.
Something I never thought I'd hear right there. All right, well, let's look at some of these new cards. I think the headliner here is at least like marketing wise is definitely the Mega Floette, right? It's the big Pokemon from
Dude,
Pokemon
Mega
Legends
Floette.
ZA.
They gave Mega
What's up?
Floette a gun, bro. Like I never thought I would see guns in Pokemon, but here we are.
Yeah, Zygarde and Floette, bro. They be blasting, man.
Dude, I know they were packing like that, bro. Jeez. It is quite the cannon.
So Mega Floette is a basic 250 HP Mega Pokemon EX psychic type with the attack Gentle Light for 1 psychic, heal 30 damage from each Pokemon, both yours and your opponents. I hope nobody ever announces that attack in any competitive context, but one that might be cool to see announced in a
Hold
competitive
on.
context. Oh,
That's an
what?
anti-Frostlass card right there. They Frostlass, they hit
Bro,
their
you
board,
don't
your
have an
board.
ability.
No, but you got some guys with abilities on the bench probably, you
You
know?
heal the yourself. Oh, it's each Pokemon. Oh,
Yeah.
for some reason I thought it was active Pokemon.
No, no, no. We're
Okay,
healing
okay,
their Monkey
okay.
Dories. We're healing our side of the field.
Okay.
Anti-Frostlass.
I literally thought it was just the 2
Yeah.
active Pokemon, so never mind. I take that back. Not a bad attack. Not a great attack, but not a bad one.
Yeah, it's not
And then
great.
Eternity Bloom for 3 psychic, 200 damage. Search your deck for up to 4 basic psychic energy cards and attach them to your benched Pokemon in any way that you like. So, this is a pretty powerful effect. 3 psychic energy is a lot with no Gardevoir, but we got Wondrous Patch, right? That's a lot of energy to pull out of the deck. Of course, reminding me of like Arceus V Star or ADP. Um, the biggest downside to this card is the fact that it is a 250 HP Mega Pokemon, so it gives up 3 prize
Yeah.
cards, not a
Is it
lot of
weak to dark?
HP, but it's meant to go with the Floette or the Prism Tower and the Ange Floette Stadium cards. And this is kind of the cool new mechanic that was revealed.
But we'll see if it goes well, it's a mechanic for these stadiums. We'll see if it goes past these stadiums though, right?
Yeah, and I guess that is the thing. Lore wise, at the moment, there's nothing else that makes sense to put out there like this. But the Prism Tower, once during each player's turn, that player may discard 2 cards from their hand. If they do, they draw a card. Not a great stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Um,
not terrible. I could see a deck playing this though. Like, there could be a deck where its engine revolves so heavily around the discard pile. You could
yeah,
put a couple, or a deck that is so aggressive, you just hate having dead cards in your deck. So you just like
sure.
you're just churning out the dead cards as quickly as you can.
And then the Ange Floette Stadium. You can play this card only by discarding Prism Tower in play. You can play this card even if Prism Tower was played this turn. So that if that didn't exist, this would be unplayable. You'd have to have
It'd
this
be
in play
tough.
for a whole turn into putting this into play. So you have to bump a Prism Tower to put this in play. Uh, and then each Mega Floette EX in play gets plus 150 HP. They're trying to give this thing 400 HP, Azul.
Yeah, but like you said, it's on the stadium that you if you even if you can't bump the Prism Tower, you just bump the next stadium when it gets put into play, and then they lose 150 HP. So
Yep.
I think the idea of evolving stadiums is cool, but that one's pretty bad. And I think we've seen this in the past where we've seen like a one-off where it's like, oh, this is a really cool idea, and then they never print anything else with it. What was that most recently though? I feel like we've had this conversation around we had the conversation, but we were like super optimistic and we're like, oh, cool, they're adding this like cool new thing to the game. And then it was just like they did it once and they didn't do it ever again.
Most
Maybe it was
recently, I don't know.
Was it Terra effects? Did we think they were gonna do different Terra effects? Maybe that was it. We're like, oh, Terra, the Terra thing. This one protects from bench damage. Maybe the other ones will do something else. Those will
That
do
wasn't
something else
that
for different
recently.
types. Yeah. No, no, not that. Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. Like in the last year, maybe 2 years post COVID.
I don't really know, man. Something with the owner's Pokemon, maybe. That's the only
Yeah.
like
So
new mechanic that's really come out.
I got a little bit of deja vu when I saw that card. I was like, this is really cool. What if they only do it for this one card like they did that other card? But I can't remember what the other card was. So it is really I hope they do it for more cards. Like that's a really cool like being like super heavy into the stadium war, like super powerful stadiums that you need to put two stadiums in play to get the effect out of. And then obviously your opponent just has to play a stadium to bump your stadium, but this is just not good enough, I don't think. The Floette Stadium is not
I
good enough.
Yeah, I agree. And like the just defensive
Floette,
stadiums in general are never that good, right? Just because they can be
yeah.
bumped to negate their effects. You want your stadiums to be like something active, right? Like if this made your attacks do 150 more damage,
Yep.
well, that would probably be pretty broken. But
Yeah. You get the 150 for at least a turn, and if it sticks, you get 2 turns of 150.
yeah,
The Floette itself, though, maybe there's a lot of psychic support suspiciously coming out immediately after Gardevoir EX rotated. So, I mean, that is a lot of energy, like you said. 200 damage is kind of whatever. It is 3 energy to get there as well, which is a lot, but 4 energy to set up your back line. I don't know, there might be something there. But I think when we look at the psychic Pokemon you would be setting up with this, you might be like, maybe that's just better with Mega Guardy. Just turn 2 Candy Mega Guardy, use its first attack, and then you have options from there.
yeah. Then we've got a Phantump and Trevenant. I think the big thing here is the Phantump, right? Its ability, Envious Evolution, once during your turn, you may put a card from your hand that evolves from this Pokemon and put it onto it to evolve it. Then put 2 damage counters on this Pokemon. Can't use it during your first turn, but you can use it at any other point in the game. So you can go Phantump straight into Trevenant, and then the Trevenant here overpaying 60 plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon. I think the main thing here though is the Gourgeist EX, which has the Horror Rondo attack for one Psychic, 130 plus. This attack does 50 more damage for each of your benched Pokemon that have any damage counters on them.
Yeah, I just don't know how we're set. Like Risky Ruins, Trevenant are options. It doesn't seem like enough. Like you
Mm,
theoretically want to get into some kind of Area Zero combo, but then that's like if we're not playing Risky Ruins, how are we getting enough damage on enough Pokemon to actually make Gourgeist work? I don't think we can quite get there, to be honest. It's like I feel like it's almost there, but it's
yeah.
not there. Not
Yeah, I
quite.
agree. This needs just like a little bit more, some other self-damaging
Need
thing.
a damage pump. Where's the damage pump? We need the
Damage pump. I mean, then this is literally just Zord V-Star, which like was never that good. So
That's fine. Like give him the pump anyways, bro. Pump him up.
you do get to use the best psychic energy or the best special energy, maybe ever. I don't know. That's a little bit of a stretch, but it's a good one. The
Yeah, Chip's
psychic
overhyping this
energy, right?
one.
I that card is.
It's
I mean,
good. It is good. It's good.
Capture Energy was always one of my favorite cards as well, and I didn't play when Call Energy was legal, but if I did, that one probably would have been I just like a card that does 2 things, right? Like, it supplies your energy for turn, and it gets you guys. Like, that's really, really strong.
It
Um,
always felt good to play a deck that played capture energy. That's for sure. I
yeah.
agree with you. I think for the I was gonna say for the Trevenant is dude, they're just printing anti Frostlass cards with the overpaying. This card is like The best part about this card is the Phantom. Is there any other good Trevenants in the format? Are we just missing a Trevenant that's just like,
No, but you know what's an expanded?
oh my, who? No one. Oh, I know what you're gonna say, but yeah, no.
Trevenant, bro. Trevenant Break, another buff for Trevenant Break. All these years later, they keep boosting the Forest's Curse.
And now you don't even have to bench the Phantom and have your opponent be able to go like boss Phantom play items. You can just go like one ascension your first Trevenant, and then the other ones come into play through the Phantom. Broken.
Turn your head
Oh, there
sideways and read
is
this one.
there's some grass Trevenants. Deal from this Pokemon the
Legal
same
right
amount of
now.
damage you did to your opponent's active. Yeah, this is all garbage. That is the best
Yeah.
one, and that one is still pretty mid.
Can't use it with Hops Trevenant.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't seem great. I don't know how we're getting value out of Overpain. I just don't know how we're getting to the it just kinda seems like it's a damage I mean, you could play with Monkey Dory. Oh, that is what you could do. You can play Trevenant, Monkey Dory plus, uh, the clock that de-evolves your psychic Pokemon.
But you that still only puts more damage counters on the Phantom.
Yeah, and then you Monkey Dory it over.
To your opponent,
Yeah, sure.
then your
And then
Monkey
you
Dory is just sitting there looking like an idiot with no
no,
damage
but
on
then
it.
you Overpain. That's how we do it. It's
Oh,
Trevenant, Monkey
we're
Dory,
ignoring that.
Overpain.
I'm still thinking about the Gorgeist deck.
Nah, Gourgeist is he's done. He's cooked. We're done with Gourgeist. It's a Monkey Dory deck now. Trevenant, Monkey Dory
Mm. Hey, you know what you need? Frostlass and a bunch of guys with abilities. That's what we need.
with the Gourgeist.
Is there
Monkey
any
Dory's
basic psychic Pokemon with abilities that
Monkey
have like a
Dory.
decent amount of HP?
Monkey
Oh,
Dory.
true.
Every
True.
deck is just a Monkey Dory deck at the end of the day.
That's funny. And then there's this Xerneas here, Geostorm 30 times. This does 30 damage times the number of psychic energy attached to all of your Pokemon.
Again, with Mega Guardy, I
Something
er,
maybe.
like with the Floette, I just don't I kinda just don't see it. But with Mega Guardy, I could kinda see that working.
And then there's a couple strong metal support options here. We've got Cobalion EX, Metal Road. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to the active spot, you may move any amount of metal energy from your Pokemon in play to this Pokemon. So it is effectively Heatran GX for metal. And then
Yep.
its attack, Power Tackle, 200 damage during your next turn. This Pokemon can't attack. Okay ability.
Extremely
The attack
mid.
is also
Yeah.
okay, right? Like nothing crazy going on here. I do want to talk about the magnet metal energy though. This is a really good card. As long as this card is attached to
Yeah.
a Pokemon, it provides one metal. And if this card is attached to a metal Pokemon, that Pokemon has no retreat cost. And metal Pokemon are notoriously thick.
Yeah.
So
This is honestly like a pretty big buff for metal decks because now you can kind of play instead of playing air balloons for like your Matangs, you just play these, which obviously you can't find this off Matang, but like I'd rather play an energy than an air balloon in my deck, right? So it's just like it's just
yeah.
more it's a more versatile card
There's a
to
lot of
include.
just good metal Pokemon that exist right now. So
Yeah.
I feel like something in here has got to be good for some of these things. Steven's Metagross, Archaladon, Mega
Yeah.
Mawile, really strong, all good cards. And then we've got Philippe with it's Blacksmith, but for metal Pokemon, attach up to 2 basic metal energy cards from your discard pile to one of your metal Pokemon.
And honestly, this card is like super underwhelming right now with the current pool of metal Pokemon because they're all energy acceleration cards already. Matang, Metagross, Archaladon.
Bruh, just wait till I turn one Mega Mawile for 260.
Yeah, okay. That's the one thing I could see this being played in is like if there's a deck that can line up Mega Mawile as a closer, you like play one Philippe, one Mega Mawile, and you somehow like play 3 or 4 Metal Energy and they make their way to the discard pile throughout the game. And then end game, you're like Mawile, Meowth for Philippe, knockout, and win the game. But I don't know how that is a thing, but that's the only way I can kind of put it together for Philippe here until we get more metal Pokemon where it's like, I can't play Matang or I don't want to play Metagross. Like it doesn't work in the deck as well as just playing 4 of these. So I'm kind of coming up blank on where this makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, this is just 3 cards revealed, right? And that's 3 pretty decent metal support options, so have to imagine there's probably something else coming alongside it.
This is gonna be a metal and psychic set, and then with Greninja. I guess Greninja's in there though, right? We still have Greninja.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, is that most of it though? Maybe.
There was also a couple
There's gotta be
other
some there gotta be some other new
cards.
cards.
There was something
They
else
could
revealed.
still oh, yeah, we can talk about the Deoxys here as well. We only need to talk about the second one,
Yeah,
and maybe the last one. They could still reprint Iono in this set. It is still possible. It could happen.
Azul is holding on to hope, bro. We've got Deoxys, 120 HP basic psychic Pokemon. They did reveal all of the different Deoxys, um, various
That's right.
forms. And yeah, 120. And if it has at least 2 extra energy attached to it, it also does 120 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. I will say it is a good thing that this card
Yeah.
did not exist alongside Gardevoir EX.
Dude, it would've been this would've been, like, insanely good, I feel like, for sure.
It would have been borderline
Uh,
oppressive.
yeah. I saw a funny tweet, Guardy players figuring out how they're gonna get this into the current legal standard format
Yeah.
before it releases. Um, yeah, I mean, that would've been insane, obviously, with Gardevoir EX. Thankfully, that is not a card that is legal. I feel like the Guardy players would cope and say, like, "It's not even that good. It wouldn't even matter." I'm glad we don't even have to think about including it, but yeah, very good. It does take but, like, past Guardy EX, maybe it works with Mega Guardy is the only thing I'm thinking, to be honest. Like, maybe, like, turn 1 use like, if you play, like, Mega Guardy with, like, Wondrous Patch, maybe some E-switches to use, like, the
We're putting
Xerneas to
5
use
energy
that.
on that guy, dude.
I mean, just, like, the threat of it. Like, imagine, like, you're slowly building up to the threat of it. I think the Xerneas with Mega Guardy seems really good. To have, like, a 1 prizer that does what Mega Guardy does, that's, like, seems pretty good.
Sure.
The Deoxys I could see still making its way in there as well, though. I'm not as convinced,
Nope.
obviously. Maybe it needs, like, some kind of scramble switch?
Okay, let him
Alright.
cook. Let him cook.
Meowth for Petrol for scramble switch. Deoxys, take over the game.
Is EXP share illegal?
No, it rotates,
Hmm.
fortunately. Mm.
That was the funniest part of watching your stream this weekend was Azul figuring out what cards are rotating live in person colorized.
Yeah, I did, figure out a few of them. EXP share was one of them. EXP share was one of them.
Mhm. All right. Well, those are some new cards. That's the results from the Champions League. We do have to talk about Seattle this weekend. But before we do, we of course have Guess That Flavor Text, everyone's favorite segment of the podcast, where each week Azul or I picks a card, reads the flavor text from it, and has the other host try to guess which Pokemon is featured on that card. We do keep score. And if you get it right, you get 4 points. And then we have 3 lifelines. For each lifeline you use, you do lose one of those points. The lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and read an attack name. Current score is 41 to 40, where I'm trailing by just one. And I'm looking this week to make things right with the world and take my
Ryan
lead
again.
back.
I've
It
had a
is my
lead for quite
turn.
a while, actually. This is kinda
Don't get comfy.
I've had a lead dude, I've had a lead for, like, 4 months. Like, this Alright, Chip, are you ready for this week's flavor text?
Honestly embarrassing. Yes, I am ready.
Alright. Legends say this Pokemon confounded opponents with its swift movements.
Legends. So, an old Pokemon or a legendary Pokemon? Probably just a legendary, maybe mythical Pokemon. Confounded. Say it again.
Legends say this Pokemon confounded opponents with its swift
Opponents.
movements.
With swift movements. Confounded opponents with swift movements. So who's fast? Who's got the legs? Who's stepping around and making things? Is it Hisuian Lilligant? Legends old, right? Hisuian. Confounded opponents. That thing do be running around. Let me do what set the card is from.
It is from Fusion Strike.
Mm, I think there's a Hisuian Lilligant in that set. What was the name of the set? that the Hisuian stuff started coming out in. It was like Astral Radiance, right? Yeah, yeah. So this came after. Wait, did Fusion Strike come before or after Astral Radiance? It actually might have come before. Yeah, it came before Palkia and okay, okay. So maybe it's not Hisuian Lilligant. Okay, maybe we can back off that for a second. Um Confounded opponents. Hmm. Fusion Strike as well. Is it a Fusion Strike Pokemon possibly? Ice Cube? Imagine.
He's got the
Um
movement.
Okay, I probably do need a little bit more help. Let me hear an attack name. Let's see if this will help me a little bit.
Bailout.
Bailout. Hmm. I don't know why I can't think of a Pokemon that has that attack. Oh, I just don't think that Hisuian Lilligant came out yet during that set. Yeah, I don't think it did. I can't. I gotta get off the Hisuian Lilligant. Swift movements. All right, what legendary Pokemon are in Fusion Strike? So obviously there's like Mew and Genesect, but that is those cards don't have flavor text, obviously, because they're Vs. So what else was in that set? There's a Selgor, but he doesn't have any. I mean, he's pretty fast though. Selgor's kind of fast. Bailout. That's not the name of that thing's attack though. It does like it's like a assault something. He's smacking you for 120 when he assaults you from the bench. Um, hmm. A Silver is fast though. I don't think that thing's attack is bailout. Let me get what stage the card is. I'll just use all my lifelines. The best I can do now at this point is tie.
It is a basic.
He's a basic. Okay. So that does lean me still towards like some sort of legendary Pokemon. But I can't think of what legendary Pokemon exist in Fusion Strike. Swift Zapdos? I think that came out in Evolving Skies. Galarian Zapdos. Oh, the bailout. I'm really this is like one of the first times in a long time that I can remember where I am like really just blanking, like full blank right now. Some sort of legendary. Someone is screaming at their computer or phone right now, I'm sure. Bailout. Darkrai?
The Uncommon Energy podcast, known as a podcast to increase people's blood pressure by the most
So
out of
true.
any podcast.
Dude, what I can't picture what type a Pokemon would be that has bailout.
All right, Chip, we're gonna need
A
an answer.
dark or psychic type, maybe. Meloetta. Meloetta or Darkrai. Gotta go with one of those probably. Meloetta is Melodious Echo, I guess, is the attack. So yeah, I'll go with Darkrai, I guess. I really don't know though. I don't think it's Darkrai.
Yeah, I thought this one. I thought you wouldn't even get close to this, to be honest. Like, it's got a good attack, and it gives you no information on the what's it called here. Obviously, I mean that was all the lifelines, right? So the card is. I mean, it's not Darkrai. It's not Meloetta. It's not. What was the other one? Hisuian Lilligant.
Well, yeah, I knew that when you said it was a basic.
Oh yeah, it is Virizion. I
Hmm.
thought one way you might have gone with bailout would be like, okay, it's probably just some colorless Pokemon because I feel like that would be like a. It just sounds like a colorless Pokemon attack to
That
me.
is an attack that Virizion has had in the past. So I feel like someone maybe got it off
Ooh.
that.
Yeah, I thought I had this one locked for 0 points for sure. I was like, there's no
Dang.
way.
Yeah, that's tough. Also, Azul, as an official caster, we do have to work on your pronunciation.
Virizion.
There you go. Doesn't feel right, does it?
No. Verizon. I remember when this card first came out, people said it was pronounced, Verizon, like the mobile service.
It
You
is
know, it's
closer to
Verizon.
that though than what
Yeah,
most people say.
Verizon.
Yeah, this was one I had a hard time with. It was like, there's just no way it's Verizon. I'm not saying that. That's so silly. Thank goodness there's no good
Well,
Verizons in
thankfully,
video
it's
games.
actually pronounced iron leaves when we see it in
True.
the so we're safe. And iron leaves is kind of a sick name, to be honest, so if somebody does another Pokemon TCG and you tune in and we call one of our Pokemon Iron Leaves, you're like, "Oh, this is kinda sick. Wait, hold up." I actually did find that graph that I was talking about, but it's still kind of informative. It's of everyone who went 11-4 or better, and Dragapult did make up 20% of the 27% of
There
the metagame.
there was at least
That
a Darkrai in Fusion Strike, so that's good
mm,
at least. I was at least picked a card that
that's
was
yeah,
possible.
that's good. Yeah, that's
How many points do I get for that?
no we could give you, like, 0.01 and add that
I'll
to your
take it. I'll take
tally.
it.
Or
Really?
yeah,
Add it in
for
there.
sure.
Timing games.
0.01. Maybe they'll build up enough to a point where it matters. I guess if we're tied at 41, then you have the slight the
No.
slight
No, Tim, don't add it in there. Don't add it in there. I did see someone comment like that we should do like seasons or something for guess that flavor text. I think that's probably a good idea. Maybe like we reset it with each competitive season.
That wouldn't be a yeah, that I mean, that w our podcast doesn't have seasons, but we the Guess That Flavor Text having seasons wouldn't be a
Yes.
bad thing. So maybe, yeah, going into next season, maybe we'll switch it
Last
up.
episode is Worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate that idea, and we're pretty close right now, so it'll be pretty competitive as we get towards, as we go throughout this season and then reset it going to the next season. Season 2 of Guess That Flavor Text.
All right, Azul. Well, we do have Seattle Regionals this weekend. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, you and I will both be there. We will be casting. We will be casting together. They stuck me with you, unfortunately, but we'll work through it. And yeah, looking forward to it. Will be fun. And it does feel a little bit like a bummer, like we've mentioned many times. The format does feel pretty stale, but there's still going to be some good high level Pokemon, hopefully. Still a lot on the line, of course. 10K up top and a world's invite, right? So people are still gonna take it very seriously, obviously. But I think we're at the point where it's like no one's playing something new, right? People, I don't know. Do you think is there anything new out there, any innovation for someone to find, or are people just gonna play the deck that they've been playing for the last 3 months?
One thing I actually do wanna say on you saying, like I'm sure we will see some good gameplay, but, like, I think this EUIC specifically really made me appreciate the ICs in terms of and I think we actually talked about this a little bit pre-EUIC as well, where we're just like, I just don't think I think the lower tier decks are just gonna do that much worse. There's just, like, that many tier 1 that many more tier 1 players at this event, and I did think we did see that reflected in the results from EUIC. You didn't see as many, like, low tier decks, top 16s potentially getting close to top cuts, even top 32 placements, like,
True.
so this EUIC kind of gave me a new appreciation for the ICs in terms of just like how much harder they are to win than like a regional championship, because we are seeing more high level play or more players out of region going to them. So it's that many more high level players there, and the competition is going to continue to grow and grow, not just at the regional levels because we're seeing those get bigger and more good players stepping up in every single region, but the ICs are on like a whole nother level. I feel like maybe from where they were. Maybe early days of the ICs were not quite the same, but like now I think we're entering like an era where it's like it's quite a big difference between winning an IC and winning a regional championship for sure. It's a really big difference now. But anything new? I don't think so. I don't think there's like anything to crack. The only deck that I think might have it is Frostlass Monkey Dory. That's the one deck I think the more I played with the deck, the more I mean, in the current format, it's insane. Like with Pokepad, it's actually absurd how much better the deck is. I think it actually might be a meta deck in Ascended Heroes format. But currently for Seattle, not Ascended Heroes quite yet. That's the only deck I could see maybe being like a breakthrough deck. But I don't think there's a whole lot. I think we'll see stuff be I don't want to say like more gimmicky, but we'll see lower tier decks do better just because of that. Like I said, like compared to UIC, like there's just the potential there is just higher because the competition is like softer. But yeah, we're not going to see anything crazy. I don't think nothing too crazy. Maybe there's a Raging Ball and cut, maybe an Alakazam, but besides that, it's like nothing super out of the ordinary. I don't think there's any big breakthroughs, but I would love to see it. Ross, top cut, Sarah Ledge, let's do it.
I think one thing to consider will just be the potential uptick. I think, like, if any deck changes in popularity, it probably would be Absol
Yeah.
sticking around for a long time in the format, proving again and again that it is a real deck. It is a strong archetype, no
Oh
matter
yeah,
who
it
may
just
say it's not.
it also just won back-to-back majors in 2 different formats,
Yep.
which is pretty funny. Edwin winning UIC and then it just won Champions League Fukuoka. No matter how much Chip hates the deck, it continues to thrive.
I don't hate the deck.
No matter how
This
much
must be
Chip
what you feel like
no,
when
no,
people
this is
bring up
this is
Raging
fair.
Bolt,
No
and
matter how much Chip thinks the deck is not that good, it
I've
continues to
changed my
thrive.
mind. I've held my L. I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will be. Like, it had a ton of success, and I think it's been the Toad Scroll way just seems kinda the way to go. I wouldn't be surprised to see other builds be successful. But I really like the Toad Scroll build because I feel like it's maybe the strongest build against Gardevoir as well. Like, Toad Scroll is really annoying for them to deal with. Like, Night Treacher was already, like, priority 1 to discard from their hand usually when you use Absol's attack. So, now that you have Toad Scroll to back you up and take that away from them immediately, you don't even have to commit your Absol attack to discarding their Night Treacher. Now the Toad Scroll does it for you. So, allows you to discard something else for your turn. Um, and yeah, there's also like I think it has a strength and just like your opponent's not going to know what you're going to be playing if you're playing Absol until they see the Toad's cool benched. And if they don't see it get benched, they have no clue. So that's going to be a big aspect for the strength of the deck if you're playing a non-Toad Scroll build. So yeah, I think it'll be quite a bit more popular. I think it should retain its success for like those reasons. Like it shouldn't be like it's going to be more popular. Everyone's going to read that and tech against it. There's not much to tech against Mega Absol, I don't think. So it should have a pretty big increase in play and success,
I think it'll
reasonable
be
success.
a top 6 deck for sure. I think it'll be that
Yeah.
6th place.
I dude, Grimmsnarl, if Grimmsnarl's the 6th place deck, bro, what are we doing, man? Please get Grim out of here, man. I don't want to see Grimmsnarl be in the top 6 anymore. That's egregious. Yeah, especially if like the Guardy variants are split. So that's like it's gonna be what Pult, Golden Go, Guardy, Charizard,
I will
which
say,
is gonna be
for all
Absol.
the hate I've given Absol in the past, I did pick it. It was my caster pick for EUIC, so I got that one right,
Yeah. Yep.
throwing it out there,
You did get
putting some
him.
respect on Absol's name. All right, well, let's do just a couple predictions here. Not really much else to talk about. I think with the meta, like we've said, it's kind of stale. People kind of know what's up. So let's do some predictions. What we think is going to happen this weekend. First up, pick the secondary part of the highest placing Absol deck. So Toad Scroll, Cornerstone Mask, Frillish, whatever it may be. What do you think is going to be the secondary piece of whatever the highest placing Absol deck will be?
It's really hard to go against Toad Scroll. I think it'll be the most popular way the deck is played for one. And then I think it is like it's like the safest build to play as well. Like if you're not trying to make some big read,
Mhm.
um I mean, I feel like I just have to say Toad Scroll to be honest. Like it's too safe. Like I want to
Yeah.
say the Lucas Zing build with the retreat lock package, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with Toad Scroll. I'm gonna stick with Toad Scroll.
Yeah, I do like that's one that the Lucas Zing build call out is one that I feel like has gotten a little bit less attention. But like one of the strongest groups of North American players played it to EUIC. Justin Templar, Andrew Hedrick, right? That whole crew, they all played this deck with two Evil Tall, with Genesect. Um, so honestly, that's the build I'm gonna pick because I'm anticipating those players to stick with it and feel like one of them will convert well. So I'll go with the Evil Tall Genesect.
I don't know. Hedrick playing 2 tournaments in a row that with not Dragapult would be something for sure. I could see it though. It could happen. Definitely happen.
Justin Templar and Lucas, at least they'll stick with it.
Yeah, yeah. I think Lucas would probably be a pretty safe bet for sure.
All right, next up, what do you think the highest placing, or who do you think the highest placing EUIC top cut finisher will be this weekend? So, quite a few of the players who made top cut at EUIC are going to, assumedly at least, going to uh, Seattle. Liam Halliburton, Makani Tran, Christian Labella, Jackson Ford, and Lucas Zhang. Of those 5 players, who do you think the highest finisher will be this weekend in Seattle?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jackson. Um,
You still believe in Charizard, dude.
well,
You
I
guys
think
the way you guys stick together, man, these Charizard mains, bro, like,
yeah, I'm going
they're
Jackson in this one.
obsessed with Charizard.
Pult, we're back in America. Pult is weaker in America. All of the
True,
great Guardy players are gonna show up.
true.
Gonna be kind of a field day for Jackson with the Charizard Pidgeot. Also, I think I mean, I think he's definitely not happy with his performance. He probably should have won his top 8 match, of course, and moved on to top 4. So I think the build that he was playing was pretty cool with the water pawn in there. I think the deck's still really powerful. I expect him to play probably the exact same 60, would be my guess. And I like Charizard just seems kind of pretty good for Seattle. So assuming he's playing the exact same 60, you can't pick really a better pilot right now for Charizard. So yeah, we're gonna go with Jackson Ford to be the best finishing of those 5.
This is a tough one for sure. I mean, all obviously, I don't think either of us would be surprised to see any of these 5 players making cut or even winning the tournament, to be honest. But I think I'm gonna have to go here. I've picked him so many times this year, but bro, he's at just the top of his game right now for sure, and that is Liam Halliburton.
Yeah, it's hard to go. Oh, yeah, he's definitely like a top 5 player right now for sure. Maybe top 3. Like I don't even know who you put. Could he be top 1?
He's got first, second, and then a top four in IC.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
him. He might be top 1. I'd maybe give like you have like a Bond has had a better year so far,
Mhm.
and then Drew's up there. Like, but Drew's behind him for sure because Drew doesn't have a win
I mean, you still have
in the
Tord playing the
finals.
game as well, so it's like,
Yeah, but like best in this, like towards the best player, right? Like, but like for the season, who do we
yeah,
feel
I'm
like
not
is playing the best? What's it
well, I
called?
didn't realize you were talking about, like, top 3 season. I thought you were just talking about
Oh
top
no,
X
no,
player in the game right now.
no, top 3 in the season. Like in the season, I think Liam might be top 1. I'd maybe give Liam top 1. I have to like think about it harder, but he's up there for sure. At least top 5, minimum top 5 on the
First
season.
place, you got top 64 in Milwaukee, second place in Vegas, 8 top 32 in Toronto, top 4 at the UIC. I don't know if he has any tournament bombs in there. I don't know if he went to LAIC or not. Let's
Yeah, I'm not sure.
see. Let's look at the season rankings on Limitless. Boom.
Still has had a pretty good. Doesn't Tord have a first and a second already at regionals this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, Torch had a pretty good season. Well,
Uh, we gotta turn it to Masters of this season. It's still, dude. H Chow's still just cranking out the results. Liam's top 5 right now in
limitless points.
limitless points. Let's do earnings. He's second,
Yep, tied
and
with
at the end of the
Pedro.
day, hey,
Money talks.
money talks, baby. What is it? What is it? Still your header on Twitter?
Yeah, I think so. It should be. I don't think I've changed it.
It's been this for years.
Things that matter in this world: money and poke.
So true. But it is a Bond just directly ahead of him, so
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, so I'll go with Liam for my choice. And then last prediction. Top 4 deck to least likely make cut. The top 4 being Golden Go, Gardevoir, Dragapult, and Charizard. Which one of these is least likely to make cut or will have the lowest representation should they all 4 make it in?
It's kind of a little bit of a tie for me, to be honest.
Between
Dude, Paulton Golden Go. Dude, Paul players are such scammers, though. There's going to be a Paulton cut. I'm going Golden Go. I'm going to say Golden. There'll either be no Golden Go in cut, or it'll be like the least represented in cut.
there's a lot of really good NA players who play Golden Go still too, though. So
There's a decent, but I think the Guardian, the Zards players got them on lock.
it's
Yeah,
so funny.
I'm counting Golden Go out on this one because like the Paul like it doesn't matter how bad of a play Paul seems. The Paul players are such scammers. Turn one Badoo, you can't play the game, and then they just win, and it's like they make top cut. They obviously lose in top cut to a good Guardy player, but they get there still. So they always somehow get there.
I'm actually surprised how confident you are in Charizard because that's the deck I'm gonna pick to whiff. I mean, look at the top 8 of Toronto. I mean, Charizard whiffed in Toronto. It was just all Dragapult. Like,
Did
Dragapult
yeah.
has become the most popular deck in the metagame right now. I think that will be true still. So I don't know. I think
Maybe
that
my faith
a
is misplaced. You might be right.
an average I think an average Dragapult player can beat a good Charizard player because the matchup is that
That's fair.
poor, right?
That is fair.
So I'm gonna go with Charizard to whiff.
That's reasonable. Honestly, you got some good logic there, Chip. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm, that's what
I'm
they say,
really,
bro.
I'm really rooting for Chow and crew to come through. Honestly, a Bond's kind of due for a top cut anyway, so it makes sense.
In his home state as well. So
Yeah, you know he's gonna show up. The home crowd.
home crowd, there it is.
Yeah, home field advantage.
Home. All right. Well, that is going to do it for our episode this week. Thank you so much to everyone for listening as always. Appreciate the support. And if you do enjoy, please be sure to leave us a like, a review, rating, comment, subscribe. Those things do help us out a bunch. Let us know you're enjoying the content and helps more people to discover it. Looking forward to seeing you guys in Seattle this weekend. If you want to stay up to date with myself and Azul, you can follow us over on X. You can follow myself at Chip Ritchie, Azul at AzulGG, and you can also follow the podcast at uncommon_energy.
Yep. Appreciate the support as always. Catch y'all next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern, and we'll see y'all at Seattle as well.